Going to call to order the June 24th Planning Commission meeting. You want to do roll call for us?
Commissioner Levison,
Here.
Commissioner Lugers,
Here.
Vice Chair Tonelli,
Here.
and Chair Polito,
Here.
and Commissioner Seabolt is absent.
Next item on the agenda is public comments, and this is public comments for items that are not on the agenda. We'll have time for public comments, agenda items when that item is called. Are there any public comments, items that you want to bring before the Planning Commission? Online? I will close public comments. I'll go to public hearings. We have two tonight. The first one is a request for a tree protection zone exception to accommodate a new two-story residence at 97 Placitas Avenue, which is in the R1A zone, but it's a small lot, 0.39 acres. And turn it over to Jerry for your staff report.
Hello, Assistant Planner Jerry Martin here to present the tree protection zone exception at 97 Placitas Avenue. Next slide, please. So the request is to be at 6 times the trunk's diameter at for a 37.6 inch diameter Atlas cedar, which is noted as tree 12. And this is to accommodate a new 2-story residence, and staff is recommending that the commission approve this item. Next slide, please. So 97 Placitas is a mostly square-shaped lot in the northwestern part of town in the R1A zoning district. Neighboring parcels are 0.34 to 0.7 acres, which is a bit smaller than the typical R1A neighborhood of 1-acre lots. The lot is currently vacant as the home was demolished last year. And this lot is pending an urban lot split. So it's proposed to be using SB 9 to do an urban lot split directly in half, 50% and 50%, with parcel B and parcel A there. And parcel A, which is the new corner lot, is the subject parcel for this project. The tentative map was approved in December of last year, and the final parcel map is currently being reviewed right now. So the lot split has already been deemed eligible. We're just reviewing the final stages before it gets recorded at the county. Next slide, please. There are currently 33 heritage trees on the current lot, and 17 of those will be on parcel A. And the applicant is proposing a new residence with an attached or a detached garage that has a breezeway and an attached ADU. I will also note that there's also a project being reviewed under parcel B, but that's not part of the request today. The project is currently under planning and building department review, and we are not going to issue building permits until the lot has been formally recorded by the county. Next slide, please. So the project proposes a new 2,935 square foot 2-story residence with the first floor at 1,699 and the second at 1,235. Along with a detached garage connected by a breezeway and a new 797 square foot attached ADU. And this attached ADU is less than 800 square feet, which means it gets to use the setback and floor area incentives that our code allows, which is why you see it encroaching into that side setback there. As you can see on the diagram, tree 12 has the big red circle over it, and that's representing the 10 times TPZ, which is the root zone. So anything that goes into that zone requires an exception. And because this has crossed that 8 times threshold, it requires an exception from the Planning Commission. Next slide, please. While the project has not been approved yet, review has determined that from what we see so far, the floor area, heights, front, rear, and side setbacks are all compliant with the code. And as I mentioned earlier, the request is for 6 times the tree diameter to accommodate the entry foyer and living room and also some of the bedroom portions of the second floor. Next slide, please. So tree number 12 is an Atlas cedar, 37.5-inch diameter breast height. The applicant's project arborist noted the tree as being in good condition and health, and the residence is proposed to be 6 times, which amounts to 18 feet and 7 inches from that tree. And you can see in the green circle there, the exact request distance that the applicant is seeking. Next slide, please. So the town arborist provided a memo, which is included as an item attachment. And in that memo, she responds to the applicant's narrative and their project arborist's report. And she generally concurs with the rationale that they provided. And she can recommend approval for the reasons that she noted, which is that they're using pier and grade beam foundations and other measures that will mitigate damage to the tree. She also granted the project arborists to do exploratory trenching. And in that trenching, they did not find any roots over 2 inches. In addition, there's no basement. The project arborist notes that the tree is in good condition and the residence only occupies about, or will occupy about 13% of that root zone. In addition, Atlas cedars have good tolerance to construction, which she also agrees is the case with those trees. So she recommends approval with the conditions of tree protection measures, such as requiring hand excavation inside the root zone, requiring mulch, and also other tree protection measures. In addition, she's requiring project arborist supervision and quarterly reports, and she's requiring that they follow the recommendations that the project arborist made in their report, which the applicant had already committed to do. I will add, as the planning department, that because this is an SB9 lot split, it definitely restricts the buildable area using setbacks that were designed for 1 acre lots. And this is a 0.39 acre lot. So that severely restricts what they're able to do within that buildable area. And in addition, because part of their project includes an attached ADU that's less than 800 square feet, per our code and per state law, that ADU could have been placed over the tree. The footprint could have been placed over the tree and would have necessitated a removal, but they chose not to do that and chose to preserve the tree instead. So the planning department appreciates that decision. Next slide, please. So for the reasons in the staff report and in this presentation, I recommend that the Planning Commission approve the tree protection zone exception to be at 6 times the trunk diameter at breast height for one 37.6-inch diameter Atlas cedar to accommodate the new residents on the subdivided portion of 97 Placitas Avenue. Next slide, please. Thank you. This concludes my presentation, and Sally will be available for any other questions, and I believe some of the applicant team is here as well, if you'd like to ask them questions.
Great job, Jerry. I'll open up the commissioners for questions or comments.
So I have 1 or 2 questions for Sally. Appreciate your report, Sally. Seems pretty inclusive. There was one sentence from the advanced tree care people I just wanted to ask you about to see if you agree with, but they said that the cedars have good tolerance to construction activities and there will be minimal impact to the health and condition of the trees. So is that pretty accurate?
That's accurate. They're only going to be digging 3 piers within that area, and they're required to hand dig those 3 piers. So I do think it will be very minimal impact.
Okay, and they've been pretty proactive with you about working around the TPZ and things like that?
Yes, I've been working with the applicant for maybe 1 to 2 years because of the lot split, and they have been very amendable to working with the town.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, comments?
I mean, I went and saw it. Are we talking about the tree that looks like it was started out as 1 tree and then trees?
Mm.
See this here.
It must have been around the side. This was not sure which,
Kind of a grayish cedar. It's pretty full.
just a single one. It's not one that looks,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
think
it's
that-
just single.
Just the single
there
one,
it is.
yeah.
okay.
Okay, if commissioners have nothing else right now, I'll open it for public comment. Wishing to speak on this topic? Yeah, we don't like speaking either. Okay, I'll close public comment and I'd be willing to accept a motion right now.
Are we ready to do that?
Yep.
I move that the planning commission approve the tree protection zone exception request to be at 6 times trunks diameter at breast height from 1 6-inch diameter Atlas cedar tree number 12 to accommodate a new residence on a subdivided portion of 97 Avenue and categorically exempt the project from the provisions of CEQA under CEQA sections 1503.
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been moved, made and seconded. Discussion? Call for a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. That one out of the way.
Thank you, and thank you so much for working with the planning commission the way you did. It was very helpful and it made it very easy for us.
Second item for public hearing is a request for a heritage tree removal of 5 trees, construct a new residence, and a TPZ exception for 2 trees, accommodate widening of an existing driveway at 76 Melanie Lane. Tom, I think you're doing the staff report on this one.
Yes, good evening. Senior Planner Tom Ford here. Good evening, Chair and Planning Commission members. Yes, as you pointed out, there's 7 trees at issue here. 5 of them are for HTRs and 2 of them are for TPZ exceptions. The staff recommendation is that you approve the removal of 4 of them and deny approval of the heritage tree removal for tree number 45, and that you approve the TPZs for the 2 trees, and I'll get into all of them momentarily. Thanks. So a little background. The project site is a little over an acre on the west side of town, over west of Alameda de los Pulgas. It's in the R1A district. As you can see, Melanie is at the south of the site, and the site drops off. For those of you that were able to see it, you'll remember that it drops off at about 27 degrees towards Woodside. So the city limits are right there on Stockbridge. And most of the neighboring properties are also R1A and approximately 1 acre. Next. So the applicant proposes to demolish the existing residence and garage. The project arborist reports that there's 31 heritage trees either on the site or closely adjacent to it. As I said before, there's a 27-degree slope. You'll probably hear that a couple more times tonight. And the project is currently under our review with an IRB and an ADU permit. And except for this tree issue, it's met all of the issues of the review. Next. So the house is about, the proposed house, the residence, 7,038 square feet with a basement and an attached garage. It has a 1,190 square foot, 98 square foot detached ADU, which is at the upper right of the drawing on the right. 192 square foot cabana, which is on the upper left, adjacent to those green and purple trees. A swimming pool, tennis court, and one of the issues actually for the TPZ issue is this expanded driveway. So the driveway, for those of you that visited the site, you walk down that driveway will basically remain, but it needs to be expanded for fire access to the site, to the actual building. So, and the applicant's architect, who's here tonight remotely, he worked with Menlo Fire to start to suss out how the fire equipment would actually gain access. Next. So let me return to this issue about the 27-degree slope. This is an exhibit that was in attachment 1. So what you see is the east elevation and the house from left to right, sort of marching down the hill, the proposed residence. There's two key pieces of information here that help them with their design. One is the ANG, the average natural grade, which is calculated correctly. We went very thoroughly through this with them, and we're sure that that's where it should be. And it's from that point that you start to measure other things. So the key piece of information here is the approximate level of Melanie Lane. So you can see that even when we're looking at the east elevation, but the north elevation would be around on the left. Even as you enter the property, you're quite a bit below Melanie Lane already. So again, it has a 27-degree slope. The sidewall height comes in at 22 feet above the ANG, and it's the top most peak of the roof is 27 foot 4 inches. I should note that through the iterative design process, the architect actually lowered the house. It had been somewhat higher, and it wasn't meeting that 22-foot sidewall height dimension. So they essentially lowered the floor to ceiling heights in the interior and brought the house down to conform to the 22-foot R1A requirement for sidewall height. Next. Here's another image to help you understand the hillside. So you can imagine standing in front of the front door and looking at it, and then behind you, the red hatched area indicates the approximate location of Melanie Lane. So you can see that even when you get to the front door, you're already quite a bit down below Melanie Lane. And this is one of the issues that affects how they're designing for the site. Next. So as I said before, the project has been under review and it meets all of the standards for floor area, heights, sidewall heights, front and rear side setbacks. What's delaying that, we're not delaying, but what's keeping that from a full approval is this issue of the 7 trees, the 5 HTRs, heritage tree removals, and the 3X exception for 2 trees for TPZ exceptions in the expansion of the driveway for fire access. Next. So let me just go through the heritage tree removal issue. You can see here, this is a table that was in the staff report that sort of identified the 5 trees being requested for removal, and you can see them in the drawing on the right. And then we've given the impact level, which is a grade that the project arborist attributes to basically a tree's ability to withstand construction and disturbance. So each of the trees are rated. And then I've also shown in the middle of the table which trees that are being requested for removal are within the buildable area, and there's 2 actually that are not. So the 2 that are not are 45 up at the top left and 29 near the lower left. 45 is just wedged between the proposed building and the swimming pool, and 29 is affecting the fire lane or the fire exit turnaround issue for the fire department. Next. The TPZ, similarly shown on the same drawing, they're down at the lower end of the drawing. And these are, one of them is even just outside the property, but the way the roots are, the TPZ is within the driveway area. So it's 337 and 358. And they're requesting a 3X or 3 times TPZ for those 2 trees. Next. So I believe it was attachment 3 that the applicant has their application to the Planning Commission, and they provide the narrative, and they note that it is a heavily wooded site. It's that 27-degree slope that provides quite a bit of constraints for how to design within the buildable area and what you can and can't do. 6 trees have already been removed. that were deemed at the staff level, able to be removed at the staff level because they were either dead or dangerous, and those don't show up on the drawing anymore. And the construction impacts, the applicant notes, will be considerable, particularly for trees at the edges of the buildable area. Additionally, the applicant points out that they are proposing 6 new 48-inch box oak trees, and those are shown in the violet color on this map. So they've given some preliminary indication that the staff and the town arborist have reviewed, and we approve this approach. Next. So let me just give you the analysis. This is covered in the staff report, but let's just go tree by tree. Number 13 up at the upper right. This is recommended for removal because it does lean. It's in a cluster of other trees, and it's just outside the buildable area. The replacement trees, Sally notes, will be in a better location. Tree number 15 is in the buildable area, and it's removed because based on the constraints that it places on the developable area and the parcel. Next. Tree number 51 in the middle, sort of the middle left. It's in the buildable area, and so it's being recommended for removal based on the constraints that it places on the development. So those 3 trees I've discussed so far are all coast live oaks. The next tree is the deodar cedar. That's tree number 29 at the lower left in the red box. That's the one that is in conflict with, it's outside the buildable area, but it's in conflict with what the applicant's architect and Menlo Fire have started to work on for an approvable fire access turnaround. Next. The last tree for the heritage tree removal, this is the tree that staff is not recommending that you approve for removal, largely because it's outside the buildable area. It's a fairly straight oak tree, and the pool tree and retaining wall, the pool deck and training wall are located where the tree is also, or the proposed pool deck and retaining wall are where the tree is. The tree is healthy, and therefore we cannot recommend it be removed. The applicant's here tonight, and he will have some things to say about that. And he also has some attachments in your staff report with some of his material. Next. With regard to the TPZs, there's 2, as I said, they're in the blue squares at the lower part of the drawing on the right. We support approval of a 3 times TPZ for these 2 trees. There are very specific conditions that are listed in the staff report, and they're also in the draft certificate of approval that would be conditioned with approval of these TPZs. Next. So just let me point out here, I made a typo in the staff report on your recommended motion. I messed up where tree number 29 is. I put it down with the TPZs. If you elect to go with our recommendation, this is what you would read as your recommended motion. So there's 4 trees that you're recommending, that we're recommending to you, should be removed. 1 would not be removed, and 2 TPZs would be recommended. And I have this printed out if anyone needs to read it, or we can bring this slide back. Next. That's all I have for you tonight, and look forward to any questions you might have.
Questions, comments from the commissioners?
Tom, if we can go back to slide 24, I just want a clarification on that pool deck and just trying to get a visual on, there's an existing pool deck there now? Is that what you're saying, in retaining wall, or was that slide 24?
There's nothing, well, there's a house that's going to be completely removed, and they don't have a pool. So the pool, excuse me if I confuse that language, the pool is proposed.
Right.
And the proposal of the pool on a tree that's outside the buildable area, that's what's causing the conflict. it's not just the development of the house, but the pool and the retaining wall between the house and the pool are very close to where tree 45 is.
So we saved tree 45 is what you're saying. And then how does that affect any development of the pool and the retaining wall? I'm not
The
really
project would
understanding
have
this.
to be redesigned.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And in the staff report, should you decide to go with the staff recommendation and not remove tree number 45, the town arborist placed some recommendations for what should happen, how far away that the retaining wall needs to be from tree 45 should it remain.
Okay. I mean, it just seems like a lot of work and consideration and discussion has been through all of this with all the trees and the slope and what's buildable and not. And it seems like it's been a kind of a difficult issue for all of you. So thanks for working through it.
Sure, thank you.
How many trees did you say had already been removed?
6.
And Sally, would you like to add anything to what's in your report at all or impressions that you have of the site or some of the decisions?
I mean, this was not an easy project. The applicant came to us with a request of 17 trees, so he has done a good job of working with the town and getting the numbers down. And where he could, he tried to save some trees. I know that there is a lien on this tree. I don't think I ever said it was straight, but I know that there is a lien on the tree. But for me to be concerned about a lien on a tree, it would need to be leaning 30 to 40. It would have to be 30 to 40 degree angle. And so the tree's also on a hillside, so it's gonna have somewhat of a lean. So for me, that's not much of a concern. There's a lot of trees in town that lean that I can't approve. Yeah, I just felt this is a tree that I really couldn't approve. And I know that it's hard because it's like one tree, I didn't approve all of them. It makes it harder, but I just felt like this is one I just couldn't approve. I approved a lot of trees so that were dead or dangerous, and so I just felt like this one I couldn't.
And you're comfortable with the 3 times TPZ on the other 3?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm 100% comfortable, but with the conditions and also because he got the approval from Menlo Fire, and because of the slope of the lot, I think it will work out fine.
Okay.
I mean, it's a pretty low TPZ. I typically wouldn't approve something like that, but because of the TPZ is already violated with the existing driveway. The trees are pretty young, so they can handle it more. And I know a neighbor had concern about losing those trees, but they're actually staying. So he's preserving them rather than saying, can I remove them for the driveway? So, yeah, so that's why I recommended it.
Thank you.
What's that driveway going to be? Asphalt? Pavers? What?
I'm assuming it's going to be pavers, but you can talk to the applicant. So pavers, yes.
Sandset or?
He's not at that detail yet. He hasn't fully, well, he might have, but but Tom advised him not to fully develop his plans because if you don't approve that tree, he has to go back for redesign. So I'm not sure if he's at that detail yet.
Anything else before?
I'd just like to comment that I walked the lot for like 30 minutes, and this is a really, really difficult building site. So I can understand the constraints of building something on this lot.
Okay, at this point, I'll open it for public comment.
Evening, everyone. I'm Bharat Kumar. I'm the owner of 76 Melanie family, and super excited. The house in Atherton, despite the conditions that you all have acknowledged, this site has. There are a few details that project architect, arborist we all work together since we've seen the memo about the recommendations. And I just wanted to present some of those details and request for your discretion in removing the number 45. That's really what I wanted to discuss about, and any questions you might have. I won't bore you with repeating the same details, but it's a very difficult lot, and we're lucky to find Tony, our architect, who's on Zoom. If we have any questions for him, who's worked on a lot of hillside lots. So we worked with Tony and the city planning team and city arborist over 4 major iterations to the design to get to where we are over the last 12 months. The only thing that stands out that I wanted to call your attention on in the next few slides is the tree number 45 and the case for removing that. Again, we've already discussed all of these. Just the compounding the slope with the 16 feet wide fire access road that Menlo Fire needed. And on top of that, there needs to be a turnaround for the fire truck, on the lot because it's more than 150 feet long. So all of that compounded and then, coupled with the number of heritage trees that are both inside as well as on the perimeter of the building envelope. It kind of complicated the design of this project. So as Sally mentioned, we started with 16 trees that were now in the way of the design, May of last year. And then we went through 4 major revisions. And then we kind of redesigned and down to 5, which is where we are, and which is also the number of trees that for this R1A 1+ acre lot that is at discretion of the commission that's allowed to be removed. So we're kind of at that threshold. And so besides complying with all the codes, we also tried to stay below the CEQA environmental study kind of trigger as well. And we did extensive redesign as echoed by the city staff and team. And we're hopeful that we could could get this project moving since it's been gone through so many redesigns and especially considering the circumstances of this particular tree, which I wanted to talk more about. Another aspect I also wanted to mention is we worked with the 4 adjacent neighbors. All 4 of them, I contacted them a month ago. Actually, next slide. These are the 4 neighbors: 94 Melanie, 481 Stockbridge in the back, 439 Stockbridge in the back, 60 Melanie. All 4 of them have been very supportive because we are removing only the 5 trees that are pretty much inside the the lot, not on the perimeter of the lot. And they also appreciated the fact that we proposed 6 replacement trees, which is more than what we're removing because we saw the gaps in line of sight from those neighboring properties. And that's where we placed or proposed put the replacement trees, which are shown in the color there. So all neighbors were very supportive, and we decided to work together throughout the project and address any concerns, as if they come up along the way. So I want to acknowledge and appreciate and thank Sally for the recommendations and Tom for presenting the overall project. And I just want to move to quite a little bit more detail on tree 45. So this tree is a 21-inch DBH, it's 50 feet tall, 40 feet canopy. The arborist rated it as in fair condition, which in the definition 40 to 60% healthy. And it has reduced vigor, significant structural defects, and it has signs of stress is what the definition is according to the arborist. The location of this tree is it's right at the border of the building area. It's not inside, but it's 2.5 feet away from the building, but it's 50 feet away from the rear property line. So it's not really a screening tree that's really providing any screening to the neighbors. So my architect, myself, and the project arborist, we all revisited the lot, took a closer look, and these are the 6 issues that we wanted to bring to your attention. Slide. Oh, actually, so in this slide, I think to Sally's point earlier, this tree is leaning about 15 to 20 degrees. And the existing garage wall in the background that you see is the true vertical. So what we did is we kind of simulated showing the tree on the right-hand side and the canopy, with the cut section of the proposed building and the proposed pool in the back, to show you that how this tree is gonna look if it remained right in the middle of the building and the pool, leaning 15-20 degrees, and the canopy itself is 40 feet wide. So half of it, probably 20 feet, will encroach into the building area on the building, and the other half on the pool side. So we would have to prune the tree, and it might look lopsided because of that, and it may lean more. And so there's issues associated with all of those things. And it looks like a sore thumb right in the middle and sticking up in an inclined way. So that's really the takeaway from what we wanted to try to illustrate here. So the 6 key issues with this tree is it's only in fair condition, not necessarily good like some other trees. It's 15-20 degrees leaning. The cumulative construction stress, there's going to be a lot of construction, as you saw, the building on one side, the pool on the other, a lot of excavation. So the project arborist said that the tree is going to have severe stress or impact due to the construction around it. And we believe that, if it fails in the future, there is a risk to both the building or property or, life around it. And from a screening standpoint, it's in the middle of 50 feet, inside the property. So it's not really providing any screening. Instead, if we replaced it with, 2 to 4 trees or more if needed along the perimeter, that would provide better screening for both the neighbors and us as well. And lastly, just the redesign hardship to try to, if this tree is kept, I think to an earlier question about is just the pool and the retaining walls that are in its encroaching this. There's actually the building currently, which is sitting, is encroaching by about 12 feet. So we would have to redesign the building again to go with the TPZs that were available at the staff level. And that's a huge redesign and would take another 2 to 4 months. And I think my Tony, the architect, would say that it is almost impossible. But again, we've never given up and we've tried 4 iterations so far. So those are really the, next slide, please. The key issues. And as an over mitigation, we're willing to, and we've proposed, if we could get this one tree removed, we're willing to replace it with 2 to 4 or even more trees that would help the neighbors from screening. We would get more, oak sort of heritage canopy around the lot, which would be best in all those circumstances. So that's really on the last slide. Yeah, and that's all I had. And I think for those reasons, we respectfully wanted to request, approving removing tree number 45. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hope I didn't take too much of your
No.
time.
It was,
all.
it
That
was
was
a
good.
great presentation.
Very well
Very-
prepared.
Thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Very, very professional
Any
presentation.
questions? Tony's on the call as well as we're here.
I did have a question real quick. I don't know if it's for you or for your architect. So if we were to keep tree 45, right? What are your options for the pool?
We would have to redesign it.
So have you discussed anything at all or they got envisioned anything where it could be, what you can do?
I mean, Tony and I, we spent the last 1 month going through this,
Mhm.
and it is not going to be an easy exercise. And the pool is going to have to be, I believe there is a 5 feet TPZ from the tree for building any pool or retaining walls,
Mhm.
which basically it's about 5 feet or so into the pool, which would reduce the pool, the way it was designed. And also on the building side, it encroaches about 12 feet into the building, existing building, proposed building. So we would have to redesign it, which is another major concern because a lot of the A&G that Tom spoke about, any time we move one of the corners of the building, the A&G changes. When the A&G changes, the entire project structure changes. So we're very concerned that these things will impact not just the pool or retaining wall, but the entire building's design that we will have to redo, and which in our estimate might take 2 to 4 months is what we were.
Okay, any other, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great job. Any other public comment?
We don't appear to have anyone online requesting to comment.
We did have some public comment that was submitted. One of them said there's been too much construction on Melanie Avenue. I don't think we can do anything about that. Sorry. One of them was concerned about, it appeared they were concerned that this fire road was some special treatment
Mhm.
on property owner. That's not what it is at all. Third one, they didn't want Cedar taken down regardless, so those are all things we take into consideration. No further comment. I'll close public comment, bring it back to the commission for further discussion and action.
This is a difficult lot. I did not go all the way down, but there are not a lot of street. Done an amazing job. They've tried to save, so nestled in there.
Anything?
Well, I agree with Sandy that it is a very difficult lot. And I'm actually comfortable removing tree 45 as well as approving all of it because we're going to get additional trees that are new 48-inch box trees that are going to provide actual screening. So I think that's my only comment.
Yeah, I'll go on the record and just reiterate what I've said in the past in other cases that I always hold Sally's evaluation in high regard and the work that the planning department does. And always use that as my major guidance in a lot of these, in fact, all of these. And because you guys are professionals and you know this a lot more about this than I do. But I do think that the owners have been very cooperative, it sounds like, And I do agree that this tree is on the interior part of the lot, so I think I'd go along with Sandy and Jerry. I hate going against a tree removal issue. But I think this time it makes sense. You see that lot, it's, shielded on and screened on the outer edges. It's heavily wooded. They're trying to get this done. They've gone through a few iterations, and it looks like, repositioning that pool after this work could be, kind of a tough ask. So I'd be in favor of 45 going away too.
Yeah, I concur. The fact that it's in fair condition to begin with is going to have severe construction impact. Cost of the redesign after they've been through 4 or 5 redesigns already. And given how wooded the lot is to begin with and how much more wood it's going to be with 6 48-inch replacement trees. And I'm also very happy with your neighbor, getting with the neighbors and getting their concurrence. Too many times we have people come in here and they haven't talked to the neighbors at all. And in fact, the neighbors don't find out about anything that's going to happen until the last minute, and that doesn't work very well. So, and just as an aside, as a homeowner who has more than a dozen California oak trees on his property and gets to deal with the leaves that fall over the course of the year nonstop, really do not want a live oak tree hanging over your swimming pool patio. I can tell you that firsthand. So I think the whole property will be better with the replacement trees. So I'll make a motion.
Chair Polito? Chair Polito, would you like me to call up that slide and we can,
So I say it right?
yeah,
That'd be good.
or I can read it and you can say what Tom said.
That's what I
So-
was going to do.
Okay. So basically, I'm going to stop. I'm going to put a period after tree 58 and ignore the rest of that because you're not denying it. And I'm going to take tree 45 and add it into the other 4 up above. So it would be, I move that the Planning Commission approve the heritage tree removal request for tree number 13, tree number 15, tree number 51, tree number 29, and tree number 45, and the tree protection zone exception request for tree number 37 and tree number 58.
Good job. That's my motion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Call a vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay,
Thank you. Thank you to both applicants for doing such a
Good luck.
complete job and working with your neighbors and really making it easy for us. I know Sally's very appreciative too, so thank you.
staff reports.
Town planner Brittany
By the
Bennett.
way, Sally, we 100% understand your position. So I always hate when we,
Town planner Brittany Bendix. My staff report is to congratulate you on having an approved SB 79 ordinance by HCD. I know that that was tough, but I think you'll see in the press, there's a lot of jurisdictions that are struggling with it right now because it comes effective on July 1st and they didn't move on it as quickly. And so now a few of them are just letting it happen and they don't have standards in place to address it. So bravo to the town for getting that through. That was huge.
Thank you for
Thanks
your
for
guidance
nudging
and
us.
getting us to do that.
bravo to you.
Yes.
Wow. You could have, you'll also see a lot of decision makers kind of hit paralysis and not be able to make a decision. And it just lingers. And in some cases, that's why it's completely fallen off. So.
No, I appreciate the work you guys did on that. It's a difficult job.
That's all I have for you.
Are there any SB 79 or other activity going on in town?
Well, actually, I could say that we adopted our safety element updates at the city council. I forgot to mention that. That was an effort led by Tom. And then we do have a potential application that we're looking at for 110 Glenwood under SB 79. That applicant is looking at 30 units, not 120. So 30 units, and
Which one, which?
at
lot?
110 Glenwood. So that's at the corner
That
of
was
Glenwood and Encinal.
One of those
And the
affected properties.
typology would be townhomes
Oh.
stacked over, sorry, Laurel. Townhomes stacked over garage.
Those will be not rentals those will be,
I would assume that they would come in as ownership, but I don't
okay.
know.
And only 8% of them have to be affordable? Is that the rule?
I don't know it off the top of my head. It would be the town's requirement, and then embedded within the town's requirement, a portion of those units have to meet whatever the affordability level was set by the state.
Okay. Nothing else from staff? Commissioners report? Kind?
The only thing I have is to let you all know that 4th of July, we have a block party in Lloyden Park. You are all welcome and invited to attend. We usually start at about 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon, go until about 7:30 or 8. We have the police come out and do the barbecue for us. They are the 3-time, I think, reigning champions of our cherry pit spitting contest. We have the water balloon toss. We have a bike parade with some of the kids in the neighborhood and just get the folks out to kind of, celebrate a little bit. So you're all welcome on, what would that be, Saturday afternoon? And we get started around 3:30 or 4.
Right?
I'm already
Really
coming.
fun.
Right down, it's right down Ballou Street in Lloyden Park.
And I have one brief item. After our discussion on about Menlo School, about the field, about the enrollment increase, et cetera, I met with a concerned citizen who'd written what I thought was a well-written letter about the topic. And this gentleman is very even-handed, actually very pro Menlo School. He sent his kids there. But he pointed out some things that, quite frankly, made me, after doing a little follow-up, make me wish I'd voted with Paul. I think that the enrollment increases at Menlo School have exceeded points of pain for the neighborhood. I think it affects Menlo Park more than it affects Atherton in some ways, but it definitely, just one example of issues is, their traffic counts. If there's 40 students parking their car off campus, none of those are in the traffic counts. So anyway, I think future items that come before us for Menlo School, I personally will be much more engaged and critical, or at least, I don't say critical by definition, but critical in the sense that I think we need to look very closely at the ramifications. I've already talked to Brittany about this, so she knows how I feel.
If I could kind of piggyback on your comment, Bob, and that is, if you drive down Alejandra, you can see them redoing, was that Wunderlich? Is it the Wunderlich field? I always get confused between that and Dollinger. And I'm hoping that the school and the neighbors, as I drive by there almost every day, are conversing and taking advantage of an opportunity to discuss that field, because it's completely bare right now as they set the foundation for the new field that's going in. So they've moved everything. They haven't moved the sheds. The sheds are still up against the fence. I guess they'll turf around the sheds. And I know that's out of our purview to do anything about that, but I'm just hoping that the school, and especially the neighbors at 69 Alejandra, are at least discussing things, because it's a blank slate right now. And it's a perfect opportunity to kind of restart that relationship and restart the use of that field within reason for both the residents and the school. I just hope they're taking advantage of that opportunity.
If there's nothing else, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
I,
Second.
all in favor? Aye, we're out of here.